Hey, welcome. This is Professor Felix Wu. I'm the instructor for ECF 36A, not 36A, 36B this quarter. Welcome to Object-Oriented Programming and Software Development. I just want to hope that all of you, this is kind of unusual. We're going to try a new thing. I never done this before. But even though we're under a very unique situation, we kind of get constrained. But on the other hand, I think we're get less distracted that we can interact a lot online and try to work together and learn together for this quarter. So I assume you all learned about the equivalent of ECF 36A or the old version, which is called ECF 30, which talk about programming and the problem solving. And some of you learn through Python, some of you through C. But anyway, over there, the programming is usually look at the input output. And we have a specific problem. We want the input data be transformed, be processed, and such that we generate output. So that is typically programming. You got some data in, you send the data out. This quarter, we're going to look at different paradigms. This paradigm is called object-oriented paradigm. So when you look at the input and output, if the problem is really complicated, and then the massive chunk of code you need to write, say in a programming like language like in C, you pretty much have to write a lot of code, and is sometimes we use the term spaghetti code, means that the code and the logic are mingled together. I'm going to challenge you with a piece of code which is implement the very popular game called 2048. And you can actually see how difficult it might be for people to write such a code or people try to understand that piece of code. But we're going to introduce something called object-oriented paradigm. In object-oriented paradigm, we try to provide a different kind of thinking, different kind of computational thinking about the things we're dealing with. For example, everything is an object. A person is an object. A professor is an object. A course is an object. A book is an object. An internet communication is an object. You probably heard about a very interesting, useful technology called internet. And under here is internet protocol. In fact, the whole internet protocol itself is object-oriented, which I will present to you how that will work. So in some sense, we're trying to think differently than just input and output, but we try to break down the problem, the very complex problem, into a set of objects with certain type of property. And then we focus on how the objects are interacting, communicating with each other, which represent the real problem. So we solve the real problem by transform that problem into how objects are related and model work together. And based on this model, then we can actually implement this into an object-oriented programming language, and we basically solve the problem in a much nicer way. So that's what we want to do this quarter. Let me actually just very quickly summarize what I was talking about. So this quarter, we're going to look at thinking differently from the traditional, very complicated world into somewhat we call the object-centric world. And we try to develop a skill set for you internally to think about design, about software, is what I call object-oriented thinking. And how we do that is we really try to solve a real-world problem. Typically, this problem is very complicated. For example, at the end of the quarter, we might actually be able to see a very scaled-down version of how a social media system, how they actually implement, by looking at object-oriented thinking. And how will that carry out into implementation, which means that you will spend a lot of interesting time to learn not just about the thinking, how to realize into implementation. Okay, so this quarter is very, we're trying new thing. In fact, this is my first recording in my life to do this way. I'm merely trying. But what I like to do is that I will pre-record video like this into modules, and I will send to you before the class. And in the class, we will already watch this video, we're to look at some of the content, but in the class, we're merely doing a lot of discussion and showing you the real case and show you any question you have. And that's the way we try to move on with this project. And also we need your input to help us to do better about what kind of adjustment we need to do in order to help you to have a more effective learning in this quarter on this subject. So at the end of this introduction video, I just want to show you, if you haven't done so, please add yourself to our course discussion group on Facebook, which we try to use all kinds of platforms. We use Zoom, we use YouTube, we use Skype, and we're going to use Facebook for a lot of communication among ourselves. I hope you enjoy this quarter, and I hope everybody be healthy, even though we're sheltering statewide, but we're communicating electronically, and I hope this will be a good time for us to connect with each other on the cyber world, and hopefully the situation will be clear very soon so we can see face to face. Okay, thank you. Bye.